What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first ever The Popecast. This is my podcast that I have made, and this is the first episode, so welcome. If you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. We talk a bunch of movies on this channel, but I'm really excited finally to be doing this. I've been planning it for a while. I got my topics picked out today. There are no questions and answers, but after the end of this video, if you do have any questions for the next video, I want you guys to post it down below, and we'll do the Q&A section next video. But for this, I got some great topics picked out, and of course, I want to give a big shout out to Adam from Almost Sideways, because he was the one that helped me choose this name of the Popecast. So as always, guys, my name is Zach Pope, and let's get into the first topic. First topic comes from being Kingsman 2. It released this weekend. It's actually doing pretty good. It's probably going to hit the first spot of the box office, which is phenomenal because the first one never actually hit that. And it's also going to be making more money than the first one made in its first weekend. That's awesome to hear because Kingsman 2 isn't getting the best critical buzz. I understand why in some senses, but I don't. And the first topic I want to bring up is Kingsman 2 a bust? Now, if you've seen my review on this channel, you can tell that I actually really like this film. I find it to be very entertaining, very fun, and bonkers 10 times more than the other Kingsman movie. But I feel like critics are bashing it for this main reason. And honestly, I love the film. Not as well made as the first film, but I don't understand where like a Fast and Furious can come in and get such great critical buzz, but it's worse than these films. It's worse made than this film. And I feel like the only reason it's getting that is so high up for the second film, because the first film, you went in with no expectations, you come out saying that was a fantastic film, because that's how I was. That's how the second film was trying to be. But honestly, I ended up loving the second film, and the more I think about it, the more I'd probably give it even a higher score. Once I see it again, that'll make it, like, my score will go up or higher. But honestly, Kingsman 2, I found so much fun to be, and the big question is, will it be a bust? I honestly hope not, because I think this world has so much potential for sequels. One more at least to end off a trilogy, and then maybe spin it off to the Statesman or whatever organizations or else into the world, and I'd love to see that in this Kingsman world. I think the world deserves it. I think Matthew Vaughn should come back and do a third one and show the critics, fuck you, I can make a great movie again. And you know what? I thought he made a really entertaining film here, and I thought Matthew Vaughn did a great job directing it. His stylized actions there, it's all great. And I think some people were calling this movie a bust, but honestly, it could end up making more money than the first Kingsman, and I'm hoping it actually does do that, because like I said, the film deserves it wholeheartedly. Next week, there's nothing really big coming out besides American Made and Flatliners, and we all know those aren't going to really make a lot of money, so I'm hoping Kingsman 2 can hold out next weekend and gain some more money, get some little more money in it, and hopefully doesn't become a bust, because I think I'm really happy to see that it's not doing what Kick-Ass 2 did. Kick-Ass was one of my favorite comic book movies when it came out, and when Kick-Ass 2 came out, I liked Kick-Ass 2, but it literally made like $8 million at the box office, which is so disappointing. I'm really happy to see Kingsman 2 is not doing that. I'm excited to see it's making 14% more than the first Kingsman did its opening weekend. And I want you guys to tell me down below, do you guys think Kingsman 2 is going to be a bust? Do you think they won't be able to make a sequel? Do you think Fox will kind of steer away since the critical buzz isn't the best? I think they should go for it, because honestly, Kingsman 2, the audiences are still enjoying this film. Critics are still enjoying this film, but it's not as good as the first film was, and I'm really surprised to see that it's in the Rotten. The last time I checked, it was like a 55%, and that's really disappointing to hear. But like I said, comment down below and tell me, do you think Kingsman 2 is going to be bust? I hope not, but some people are calling it a bust, and I don't understand why. I think it deserves more praise than it's getting. It's a very entertaining, fun film. Maybe people were expecting a more smarter, satirical story than the first one, but it's not. It does exactly what an action sequel should have done, and I liked what it did. Moving on, we're going to do something different. We're not talking about movies for this next session. It's actually games. This is about Destiny 2. Came out a couple weeks ago, and I know a lot of people actually really played the first Destiny and actually hated it. I'm a big fan of Bungie, and going into Destiny 2, I was kind of skeptical in a sense, because I didn't know if I was going to like it, because Destiny 1 I did enjoy, but I found it to be very repetitive and kind of boring, in fact, to the point where I didn't even know if I wanted to keep continuing playing it, and I ended up not playing it. The add-ons did make the game better, and as updates came through, Destiny 1 came out to be a pretty solid game, but that's with updates. Now, Destiny 2 comes out. Full honest thing is that I love Destiny 2. I think this game is fantastic, and I even have friends who hated the first one who are coming back and playing Destiny 2 and loving it. So I think the big question here is, if you hated Destiny 1, should you go and try Destiny 2? And I'm going to tell you, yes. I was going to do a separate review for Destiny 2, but I thought I would just talk about it, because Destiny 2 is spectacular in a lot of ways. One, the graphics are bumped up significantly. Each of the worlds are very different. Not the first one, where each of the worlds were kind of like bland after a while. No, Destiny 2, each planet you go to, you find something different here and there, and it's really intriguing to be and see. I think it's so intriguing for the main fact of just every world's so different, and I like seeing that. And I also like the the gameplay is the same. It's the same. They did change some of the weapon routes to make it a little more fair in Crucible, which I think is better off there. But like I said, it actually has a story mode. It is a little carbon copy. The story could have been a bit better, especially coming from Bungie, who made Halo, which Halo has some pretty emotional ties into it at times. But Destiny, like I said, the cutscenes are great. The story is not as boring as the first one, which makes you able to power through it and grind through it to get to the next light level, to the next power level. And Destiny 2, for me, like, if you are skeptical and you haven't tried Destiny 2 yet, I think you should go pick it up used at a GameStop, get it up when next time you see it cheap, and just try it out, because I think this is a game that deserves a lot more credit than it's getting. Crucible is a ton of fun. The fire strikes are 10 times better. The raid is difficult as shit, but it's really more fair, and it's easier to actually meet people and get people to get going, instead of Destiny 1 where you couldn't find anyone to even do a raid with. And overall, Destiny 2 is starting to be a fantastic game. It has its faults, though. Like I said, the story is not that engaging. It helps you just grind through it the most. And like I said, the gameplay is pretty much the same. There's nothing really different to it. The subclasses, there's only one really new subclass, and that's it. I was kind of expecting a bit more in that genre, and same with the customization. Could have been a bit better, but like, it's a grinding game. This is a fantastic game that I think is better than the first one, and it's worth checking out. If I'm playing it, and I'm still playing it after 2 weeks, it's worth checking out your time, guys. I think you guys should go check it out. So like I said, Destiny 2, if I was actually going to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give it an 8.5, 8 out of 10, somewhere around there, because I'm still playing it. I'm still engaged in the game. Every day I still get on and try it at least once to try and get through it, grind up to the next armor gear, power gear, and see how strong my character can get. And he's becoming pretty badass, if I might say myself. That's gonna end our game segment for this episode, but now we're moving on to the next movie segment. Back to it is Blade Runner 2049. It has an official runtime. Denis Villeneuve said it's 2 hours and 49 minutes. Damn. Now, I just rewatched the original Blade Runner today, in fact, because I'm planning on doing a retro review with another YouTuber, which you'll see very soon on my channel. And this Blade Runner, I'm not the biggest fan of the first one. I'll say that right now. I'm not going to give a full review, but I'm not the biggest fan. But the CGI really does hold up. The film itself doesn't hold up as well, but we'll get into that when you guys do see my review. But I'm really excited for 2049, just for the fact that you got Ryan Gosling, you got Harrison Ford coming back, you got Dave Bautista, you have Jared Leto, and of course, the big reasoning I'm so excited for this is Denis Villeneuve as a director. If there was any other director and they came out with a runtime of 2 hours and 49 minutes, I'd be like, are you serious? I mean, you're talking to the person who loves Wolf of Wall Street. That's his favorite movie of all time. That's a 3-hour runtime. But 2 hours and 49 minutes is very long. It's a very long movie. It has to be engaging. I feel like Denis Villeneuve is going to bring his own passion to it while mixing Blade Runner in. And don't get me wrong, I love Ridley Scott, but I don't feel like Blade Runner is one of his best directed films, but I think Denis Villeneuve's style mixed with Blade Runner can make for a very intriguing and more atmospheric level of Blade Runner today in a modern technology that he can use through it. I think it'll be awesome to see what Blade Runner does and see what they can do with it. And I think Blade Runner 2049 is going to be a very big surprise hit to a lot of people. I think people who aren't fans of the original Blade Runner are actually going to really come in and love Blade Runner 2049, or maybe they won't. Maybe it'll be the same thing, but from what I'm getting from the posters, the material, the director, the actors, and what all of them are talking about, everything I'm hearing about 2049 looks like to be one of those great films that I cannot wait to check out. And it looks like to be one of those films that I'm just really anticipating a lot more every single day that I hear more about it. Especially with this runtime, I'm hoping that I'm engaged and I'm hoping it's not a bust, but I'm really excited to see what Blade Runner does with this. 2049 looks excellent, and I can't wait to see where it goes from there. Movie news, so for some trailer updates, which are coming out very soon. These are the rumored ones. Avengers Infinity War is supposedly coming out this Friday, so look out for that. And then, of course, The Last Jedi's new trailer is supposed to come out October 9th at a football game. Mark Hamill tweeted about something, and I thought it was funny because he took it down right away. But let's talk about the Avengers trailer, because that's the one that's going to be coming up the fastest. And I'm really excited to see what this Avengers trailer is. I'm wondering if it's going to be a majority of how the leak trailer was, and maybe just cut up a bit more. I feel like it's going to be different material with some of those elements mixed in there, because a lot of people saw that leak trailer, and I'm sure they want to, show that, the CGI is probably well better done and rendered in this new trailer, and plus, I think they want to show, they want to get this out there and start marketing it, because people are so pumped about this next Avengers film. And if I don't say myself, I'm really pumped for it as well. I like the leak trailer, and I'm excited to see what this trailer will be. We're talking about trailers. Justice League. When's the next trailer coming out? Well, I don't know. I'm expecting we'll get it in a couple days, or maybe even a couple weeks after the Avengers hype has gone down, if it actually does come out. But I want to talk about something very important. This is one of the main reasons I want to talk about this podcast, and this is probably the biggest thing. is, will Justice League be pushed back? This is a big topic in the world of discussion for podcast and just movie news in today, because if you really look at it, a majority of big movies that are coming out in November, the tickets are already on sale. Wonder Woman's tickets went on sale earlier than Justice League's went. Wonder Woman's tickets went on sale like way before it came out, and Justice League is like only 54 days away, and the tickets still aren't available. And I think there's a couple other elements to this, is that they're not wrapped with production yet. And given sometimes it takes up to that like couple weeks. Like I think Avengers 1 was the same way. It took up to those couple weeks for them to actually Joss Whedon to finish it. And I know Justice League has had a ton of issues behind the scenes. Nothing that's bad, but like just stuff like the director shakeup. Rest in peace. I'm so sorry, Zack Snyder, for your daughter. And just other things with scheduling conflicts with the actors. And it's very hard to see all this. But there's a lot of stuff going around Justice League, and I feel like this movie actually might get pushed back. And there's other YouTubers who are also saying this as well. I know John Campy has been saying it. There's some Reddit posts that are going around saying that this could be pushed back. And I'm starting to get on the train that I think it will. Now, I don't think 100%, I wouldn't bet money that it's going to get pushed back, but I think there is like a 20% chance that this movie could get pushed back. And I want to kind of talk about this and tell people, like, if it does get pushed back, it's not a bad thing. They're doing it to make the movie the best it can be, because Justice League, whatever DC does after Justice League, if Justice League is fantastic or good at the most, DC wins. If it's bad and it gets bad critical reception, like Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad, I'm honestly going to say like DC's probably tanked, and they shouldn't relive that in a while. Because if you really think about it for right now, Wonder Woman was fantastic. I gave it an A+. I love the film so much. I loved it from top to bottom to every scene. BVS, didn't like the theatrical cut. I love the uncut version. And then Suicide Squad, I just find it to be a fun movie, but not a good film at all. That film actually does piss me off in a lot of parts. And then we get to Justice League, where I'm hoping that it carries through. I'm not expecting the best story. I'm expecting a really fun, epic team-up. And that's all I want. I don't need the most thought-provoking story in a Justice League movie. I want to see some kick-assery in there. And then some storylines that branch us through, that develop the world more and more, especially with Justice League, just how Avengers does it. People are being like, why are you comparing it to Avengers? I have to, because that's the only movie I have it to compare to. Like I said, Justice League I think it will easily be toned down to a bit. I think it'll easily be toned down and could be pushed back. Maybe to an early March date, maybe somewhere around there, February, just something to get it out of the sight and just kind of let it breathe and kind of give it time. Because I'd rather the film come out and be 100% done, fantastic, and love it, than them rush it out, just how I feel like BVS or Suicide Squad had been done. I know DC has changed their motto and changed how the way they're structuring stuff, because I mean, look at Aquaman. That's the only film coming out next year, unless Justice League does move. But I have a lot of hope for Justice League, and like this conversation, yes, it's turning into, yes, there is a possibility that will be pushed back, but I also think Justice League also has a possibility. I want to talk also about it being good. I think Justice League will be a very good film. I think people are worried about it. I think people are worried that it's going to be over CGI'd, but I have a feeling that this Justice League is going to be great. I want a dark, gritty adventure. I want a fun adventure too thrown in there, and I want epic proportions thrown in there. And I've actually talked to someone who has seen a test screening of Justice League. He's not allowed to tell me much, but I asked him, like, did you like it? And this is a guy who didn't like Suicide Squad. He didn't like Batman vs. Superman, and he honestly wasn't the big fan of Wonder Woman. But he told me, seeing a test screening, it was longer than it's probably initially going to be. There are going to be scenes that are cut out. But he saw this about, I think he said 3 weeks ago. And when I was talking to him, he told me, like, I'm not going to tell you much about it, but it's very good. Like, he told me that he really much enjoyed it, and that was very epic proportions. And this is someone who, like, I know that I've known the dude for quite a while, and every time he goes to a test screening, he's pretty brutal about stuff. And most of the time when he says something about a film coming out of a test screening, it usually ends up true. Baywatch, Ghost in the Shell were two of the biggest things that I remember him telling me about, saying those movies were bad, and I go to see him, and yeah, they were pretty bad. I like Ghost in the Shell, but it was not that good. We move on to Justice League, and he's telling me this, and I'm hearing other things about Justice League from other people, and just, I look at myself, and I look at Justice League, and I say, Justice League has the best potential to be one of the best films of this year. The best comic book film, other than Logan. Logan, we throw out of there, because Logan will always win. But we look at this and say this could be an epic proportion of such massive stuff. I want gravitas. I want Aquaman killing parademons, writing them down, being this badass punk dude. I want the Flash running around being a cool badass as well. I want Wonder Woman kicking ass. I want Batman kicking ass. And I want Superman to show up and save the day as well. And I also want them to build some more mythology in there. Maybe introduce the Green Lanterns in a small aspect, not something overly blown. And then, of course, I haven't even mentioned Cyborg yet. Cyborg is a very intriguing character in the comics, and he can be even more intriguing in the Justice League because of his backstory. This league has so much potential. And I'm not trying to hype it up at all, but I'm saying that I believe that if you bring in Joss Whedon, who he's really never disappointed me. Avengers 2, whatever. Fuck you if you didn't like Avengers 2. Avengers 2 is a fun movie. And Avengers 1, same thing. It's a fun movie. He intrigues little ideas in there that are thought-provoking and builds a little mythology in those Avengers films. And I think that's what he needs to do with Justice League. And I know Zack Snyder, he directed a majority of it, and now they're going back for reshoots. And who knows how much will be changed by the time that film. And they are saying that this will still be a Zack Snyder film. And I like Zack Snyder. He's made 300. 300 is one of the best films out there. Watchmen, whatever you think, the director's cut of Watchmen is awesome. And I know Zack Snyder can do a film. BVS, if they would have released the uncut version in theaters, it would have gotten 10 times better critical reception. That is out there. Like, I know for a fact it would have. I think the guy has it in him. You team up him and Joss Whedon in there. You throw Ben Affleck, who's also a fantastic director, who's probably helping as well behind the scenes. Who knows? We all know he might be leaving. And we also have a fantastic cast here. We have Steppenwolf, who looks to be a very menacing villain. I gotta say, like, I'm pumped for Justice League. And I know a lot of you guys might not be, but I hope that this might have changed your mind. And like I said, I want you guys to tell me down below, do you think Justice League could be pushed back? Or do you think it's going to stick on its release date, it's going to come out, and do you think it's going to be good or bad? I want to hear it down below, guys. And of course, guys, that is the end of our first podcast. This picked up a couple topics for this one, but like I said, this was kind of a test run to see how I'm going to run this. Each podcast, I might be testing different things, but the next podcast, I do want to add a Q&A segment that will probably make this longer. So, if you got any questions for me, anything, any topic, comment down below and tell me what questions you have. And if you're a Patreon supporter, check out my Patreon down below. You can tell me how to support. You will automatically get a question as well. Message me on Patreon. I'll read the question and I'll put it down in this podcast as well. But guys, this was so much fun. I had a lot of fun making this podcast. This was really fun, actually, just picking different topics and just kind of getting to explain different things. I know we kind of went from movie to game to movie and trailers and all this type of stuff, but it was really fun talking about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this first segment. Like I said, not the longest episode. I'm sure as more movie news comes out, as more topics come up, and as more Q&A and questions come about, we will be getting a lot more stuff going on in this podcast. But of course, thank you so much for joining me on the first Popecast. I love you guys so much. If you're new here, like I said, like and subscribe if you like this. If you didn't, go check out some other videos. I got a ton of content on this channel. Of course, got to stay classy and have a great rest of your day.